What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome back to Tuffy Talk with the guys here and the girl. Kenzie, we're really excited to have you guys back for another really great show we have for you guys. And just so you'll notice, we've got one member who is absent from this meeting today. It's I don't know if we had a picture of Leighton somewhere, but he's probably on a beach somewhere in a different country, enjoying a nice, relaxing vacation with his wife.
Right.
I think he's doing some Zach Brown, right? Toes in the sand.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
The picture he sent earlier in our group chat looked like he was having a pretty good time, just chilling out.
No one deserves to see that picture.
It was like
Right.
he had a picture for those who sent us this picture, and it was like just one leg, and it was like he's on like it's somewhere, but it was he's I think him and his wife Ashton are celebrating their anniversary, if I'm not mistaken. So happy anniversary to them.
I think we should do a team trip out there.
Yeah. So what we need to do is we should all go, and then Leighton can just run the show by himself while we are all on.
Right? There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, guys. So man, it's been a really interesting week. Not a whole lot going on, kind of sarcastically to say that, but I mean, there's no football games on. There really is a lot of basketball games right now. We're going to get to that. But I guess first off, let's just start with how are we guys feeling? How are we doing this week? How was the weekend, guys? You ready for Christmas? Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Well,
I'm ready for December 30th. I'm telling you that.
I'm ready. I said I'm more ready for New Year's than Christmas. How about that?
right.
For this bowl game.
I hear you. Well, yeah, we it's going to be I think a pretty fun year. I think you've already saw some bowl games get on TV. And I thought that I watched a little bit of that Oregon State Florida game, guys. That was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing. Yeah.
Wow. But so for a state, they got football, and right now the transfer portal, guys, is really hot. It's really hot. That's the word I wanted to use. Is hot. Spicy. So
muy caliente.
For those who've been following on social media, obviously we always, as fans, we're going to say, hey guys, go subscribe to Inside Pack Sports, Pack Pride, Wolfpacker, you name it. But we're also going to say here, man, from what we can see on social media and following through those things, we've gotten a couple of commits that I think there's 3 commitments we've had announced. So I'll start off with the first one. And these are guys who will come in. There's 4. I'm only aware of 3, so I might have to message you to make sure I understand.
Okay.
So
I might be counting one twice.
Okay. Maybe you are.
He's that important.
Yeah.
No, he's a big guy.
He's counting William and Mary is what he's counting.
Right.
No, but we have a wide receiver transfer from Clemson. Wide receiver Dakari Collins. The guy is a 6'5" wide receiver, guys. He's huge. He's a 4-star coming out of high school. If you look at his offer list coming out of high school, he had offers from everybody. I mean, the big names, Alabama.
He's pretty close with MJ already, so that connection might already be there before he even steps onto the field with him.
Yeah, he's from that Georgia area, but he's a big time addition, guys. I think he's a natural replacement for the Devin Carter role. What do you guys think about the pickup for college? And Greg, I'll start with you.
Yeah, the potential is definitely there, right? I mean, he had a decent, solid freshman year. He called it a season after the first 3 games this year. So limited action, but again, the potential is there. Anyone that gets recruited by Clemson is probably not a scrub. So yeah, I think there's definitely potential. We just have to curb our enthusiasm, I guess. It's easy to get caught up with where they come from and the stars that are attached to them. So
yeah. What about Mackenzie? Michael, what are your thoughts on getting Dakari?
Like Greg said, anybody that is committed to Clemson already, I mean, they're probably a freaking beast in the high school level. But he didn't play much at Clemson, but he did play a little bit. But I am excited to see how he's going to. I mean, because we're losing a couple of really big wide receivers. I mean, we have Keon and Timmons, but I mean, he's going to be a really good ad. And I'm hoping that all of them. I'm just ready to see all of them with the new offense that we're going to have. That's what I'm most excited the big for. So like, you can't really look, because it's not going to be Tim Beck's offense. So you can't really look at how he played at Clemson and say, oh, okay, so he's going to be either really good or maybe this isn't the offense for him. So
and that's a great point. That's a great point.
Shout out to past football Willie Brown in here.
Oh, yeah.
There he is.
Love you, Will.
Nice.
No,
Yeah.
excited about him too. I mean, anytime you get a 6 guy who's 6'4", 6'5", and runs a 4.5, that's a huge upside. And he did only play 3 games at Clemson before opting out to, I'm assuming, to preserve his red shirt. So he does have, I think that would give him 3 years,
3 full years.
Yeah.
That's almost as big as anything else. He has 3 years, guys. I mean, so the other thing I think about too, guys, is with the way the transfer portal is now, is that really a good thing or a bad thing? It is what it is. Like, he's got 3 years.
It gives you some stability. It gives you some stability.
I'm gonna
The
go.
commits don't mean crap anymore. Like, it's just like you never.
We're gonna get to that
count,
side of things too. But
you can never count on somebody to be there. So at this point, I'm just like, okay, we'll have him for now. Like, until he shows up on the field the first game, I don't trust him. Honestly.
Right. Yeah. No, I think about that. I can think of a few basketball players who committed to state and then didn't happen. And I got my hopes really excited, all my hopes up for that. And
just happened recently.
Recently, I'm trying to think of which one for basketball.
Tredor.
Oh, Matty Traore.
Yeah.
You were pretty excited about him. I remember.
He was. I like what I saw from him. But I don't really know what came out about that. That was a really interesting situation. So Dakari Collins, big receiver, big body guy. You blend him with a guy like Keon Lassane. You mentioned Terrell Timmons, Anthony Smith. That's a lot of. Now you're starting to have Julian Gray. You can add that in the system. I think that's a nice. That's a good receiver addition, a key addition from his body type that you can add in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading up that he's probably a guy who's he excels more in contested catch situations.
To me, he screams red zone target.
Right. Yeah. Right. So that would be huge to me. And I know you can see some guys comment here. Wolfpack Zone saying huge pickup. I'm really excited about Collins. So that's really all I got from him. I know they're not on campus yet, but they're trying to get their commitments in. And I think I'll move right now, guys, to the second transfer we've had committed. It's an offensive lineman who is transferring in from Oregon.
Mullet.
No, but this is a guy.
He's gonna fit in perfectly.
Dawson. I don't know if I've pronounced his name because it's got this like Spanish kind of spelling, but I think it's Dawson Jaramillo. That's the very least. That's the country version of me pronouncing it.
The country version.
You're not rolling your L's, right?
Jaramillo. Kind of things like that.
That's probably
no, but Dawson Jaramillo, for those who it's Jaramillo, 6'5" offensive tackle who is from Portland. My understanding, Portland, Oregon.
Yep, that area.
Yeah, and I don't know what his background is. I think he only has like 1 year to play. Is that correct, guys? Am I right on that?
I think so.
He has one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, Michael, what are your thoughts about getting Dawson?
Yeah, he seems like last year at Oregon he had
a swing guy
around. Yeah, he had multiple snaps at multiple positions, which I think is always good. I don't think he's a lock to start anywhere on our line, but he's definitely a plug and play guy who he will definitely add value because, like we saw this year, I think we used 6 or 7 offensive linemen kind of rotating throughout the whole season. So, he'll definitely be a big addition.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, this guy, guys, he had a lot of offers from the Pac-12 area for sure. Kind of looking through when he came out of high school, he had Oregon, Cal, Oregon State, TCU, UCLA, Utah, Washington, and then interestingly, which I think people need to realize this too, his only other offer that I can see at very least Power 5 was Virginia. And what makes that interesting for everybody
I got that connection right there.
Yeah,
that's is connection.
Getting Coach 2J in from UVA. Which, by the way, have we really talked about that? Did we
really didn't.
Episode?
No,
we really didn't.
Maybe we should have led with that. So, well, we talked about Robert and I.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
2J
Okay.
was
Did.
announced the day of our last stream, and we just didn't really get to it. We had a lot going on.
Yeah,
We might have
yeah.
done it. We might have mentioned it in our After Dark segment.
Maybe we did, but we're going to talk about it now.
Yeah.
So, Coach 2J is the new offensive line hire from University of Virginia, and this is a guy who, after Robert and I got hired in the last week or so from State, it was a very quick hire. So you can, to me, that tells me this was a no-brainer
deal. I think they were a package deal.
Right. And I think it's interesting because he, and I was at UVA, went to Syracuse, came back, and it's almost like if I'm going to be back here, that's my guy I want. And what's also interesting is 2J was UVA's recruiting coordinator. Yeah. So that's a big deal too. If you have your own recruiting coordinator at State, I can't remember who it is for us. Is it Mercy? Coach Mercy? Yeah. And then now you have another guy who has that desire to want to recruit, who has that natural ability ingrained in him. It's clearly paying off with a guy like Jaramillo. I mean, that's a big time. It's a 4-star offensive tackle coming out of high school, and he's going to come across the country to play football. I mean, that's a big deal, guys.
Which is something you don't see for State, right? We're a very regional recruiting school. When I say regional, up and down the East Coast, right? Like, you know, from Pennsylvania down to Florida, occasionally a little bit out west to maybe like Kentucky and stuff like that. But if you think about it, the only people that really come to mind from the West Coast are the Finley brothers.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Those are the only ones that really just jump off the page for me, from a football perspective.
Yeah.
So to be able to reach out into that area a little bit, this might not be a one shot thing. This might be something because of the BYU connections with 2J and Anai. You might see some more recruiting up that way, which is, look, if you're getting more of a footprint in that area, you open up open yourself to some really good talent.
Yeah, well, I think it's a big addition if he can play at tackle spot. If you're going to lose a few guys going pro, I mean, and he's not center, so he's not going to fill in the Grant Gibson spot there. No. But I think he can fill the Chandler Zavala spot. Right? Yeah. I mean, that could be a spot he could play. And 6'5", that's a big dude. So
I think I mean, this is just my guess, but I think we'll see McMahon slide over to center and start at center, and then you'll have 2 guard spots to fill between Zavala and now McMahon's old spot, so he could be one of the guards. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I think Derek Eason slides into one of those. Like, he slides into McMahon's spot, and then that other spot becomes Zavala spot, the one that they're competing for.
And remind me, I'm blanking here. Tackles are McKay and Spees still there? Spees is gone?
Belton.
Spees is gone.
Yeah. Belton, that's right. Belton.
He's left tackle. Yeah.
I'm just blanking. I don't know why I blanked on that for a second. But no, those are 2. And then the most recent one, which I think was out today. And this is where I think, Greg, I'm checking to make sure we're thinking the same person. But this is the DB,
the JUCO
from a
kid.
JUCO, junior college, defensive back, Terrente Hinton. He's Terrente. That's kind of cool. But he's in a DB from junior college. What I kind of saw on social media, he was one of the top JUCO players coming into 2020 into this new year, and it's going to become a State. I mean, State's you saw in the kind of transition, maybe it's a natural transition here. You also saw negatively Joshua Pierre-Louis as a DB who's leaving State, which is not surprising. You've seen a guy like I don't know if he's leaving, but I know Tayshawn Smith got his degree. I don't know if he's staying or not. I don't know. Tyler Baker-Williams, I think he's done. So those are some DB spots there, guys. Tanner Ingles done. I think this guy's more of a corner. Yeah, I think this guy's more of a corner or a nickel. He looks like that kind of body type rather than the safety. But another addition. It seemed like this was a very quick move for State and Hinton. And I don't know if you guys got any thoughts about him. I think I did see he had offer to Arizona State and Indiana. I think were the 2 schools that I saw he had. So Big Ten and Pac-12. Any thoughts for you guys on Hinton? Or just the 3 that we have so far that are coming to State?
I think it's a great start, honestly. Like, season's still on, and we're already getting some of these guys coming in. Like, someone of the comments in here said, like, that's huge for like the new coaches coming in. like to hear about. Like, I mean, I think that they're already helping our program out a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know. I think it was like last Sunday or Monday, like right after 2J was announced, he was like doing a video in Atlanta airport, had his pack polo on, and he was already on the recruiting trail, doing his thing. So, it's really good to see these guys hit the ground and running. And you have a short amount of time to get these guys on. And I think what really is going to help too with the 2Js and the NIs right now is they're not really game planning for the bowl game, so that gives them time to get out and go recruit while we're also preparing for a bowl game. So kind of to just kill multiple birds with one stone is always a good thing.
Yeah. I'm looking here some measurables. I was just kind of looking through here on Twitter. He's a 6'2" DB. Just to give you some a bigger DB. So that's a really good get, guys. And I think kind of transitioning naturally.
We've lost a few.
I think though it is important pointing out there with Hinton and with that particularly, but I don't want to miss out this too. And I see Logan here in the comments is pointing it out. State has locked in Tony Gibson, guys, and that's
the biggest move.
That's huge for State. And
1.2 or 1.3. What was it?
3.
Yeah, which is the highest.
Paid. Yep.
Yes, he should.
So I sent my buddy a text the other day. I was like, Tony Gibson is the new Brent Venables. And he said, no, Brent Venables is the old Tony Gibson. So whatever it is. So,
I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, when you win some national championship, we can talk, but yeah.
I just think that's a huge deal for State. I mean, I know you get a Nye who is a guy who seems like he's going to be able to play to his strengths is what it seems the word on the street is of how he operates and thinks about his offensive system. He adapts. And it's very successful.
What was the last thing you said?
Adapts.
Oh yeah, that's something we didn't do.
That's a word, right? I'll try to figure out that I really mumbled my words.
No, you didn't. I just wanted to play off of that because I think that was one of the criticisms about Tim Beck, right? That we didn't really seem to adapt. Anyway.
Hey, he's a coastal now. We don't got to worry about it.
Right, but then with Tony Gibson dominating like he has been in this 3-3-5 system. Defense wins championships, right? That's the mindset there, and you have one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. Honestly, I think at this point, let me ask you this, guys: do you think Tony Gibson? Where do you think he stands in Dave Doran's coordinator or assistant coaching hires at this point? I think he's number one. I mean, who is better? Who's better?
Maybe Drinkowitz.
I mean, do you say like if you graduate to a head coaching position in a Power 5, I feel like that might trump it. Same. You can say the same with Canada, even though, like, I agree. But he's one I would say he's like the co-defensive coordinator for the Saints now. He was a D-line guy.
That's where I was going to go. I'm blanking on his name. Leighton would know exactly who it is, but I'm blanking on the name. And
wait for Leighton to comment. He'll comment.
It is Ryan Nielsen.
That
was a guy I thought was a big time recruiting guy. Players like to be around him. I'm with you, Greg, but I really think Tony Gibson. He may be, and I think one that's kind of going under the radar for me personally. I think a couple guys on the staff right now. I think Todd Gobel's a really good hire.
Yeah.
I mean, you have one of the best special teams in the country, and consistently, and that's going to.
Can you pause there for a second? Can you pause there, and we'll say why, right? Because you get a punter that gets drafted in the NFL, and that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah,
right.
Drafted,
right, and then of course you have done with all his honors this year, and
which we haven't talked about really either. Consensus first team All American. So
So anyway, good call on that one.
Yeah, and then I don't know. I just think he's. You go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I was gonna say the other important thing with we all with Anai is that his contract was $850,000, which I think is pretty much what we were paying Tim Beck. So to get that kind of coordinator and not have to spend that much more money was just more money that we could give to Tony Gibson, which I think was kind of the goal.
Well, and that's also like as much as people want to dog on Boo got it done quick, right? Like
really
he made sure that the money was there and, basically gave Doran the ability to go get who he wanted and they found a way to make it happen. So
Yeah, I
give
kind of
Twitter a
heard
credit too.
that. I kind of heard that Boo Corrigan was had a mindset and a philosophy more football focused than like spreading the love around as much. I mean, he's going to be a good AD, I think, but an investment into your DC who's proven it and locking him in. I think it's a 3-year contract, if I'm not mistaken, right? So
that's a huge.
that's a big deal. That's just a big deal, guys. I see Droop 75 said Ledford was a good one. Dwayne Ledford, he was really good at the zone blocking schemes. The State really ran a lot of when he was there. I think replacing him with John Garrison was pretty good. I think John Garrison was a pretty good, serviceable coach behind Dwayne Ledford. But obviously, John Garrison's left to go to Ole Miss.
Yeah,
and now
that's a big hire too. Honestly, like it's like State's program not only produces football players, like we produce coaches. Like they always go to bigger positions
and
too.
And you could tell that because I believe they're in the one with not one with Pack, but what Total Access I think was what was it called, or whatever one they did.
All
Access. There we go. In fact, if you remember that he was Garrison was the one that was fishing with Doran on the boat, so you could tell that they were close off the field. So I think that was a big hit, but we did great to fill it with who we did. So I don't think we're going to miss a beat at all. If not, it could be an upgrade. And by the way, has anyone seen the comparison that everyone's calling him Coach Thanos? Has anyone?
Yes.
Seen that on Twitter?
He
liked it,
man.
And he was all in on it too.
He said I thought he looked like it.
Yeah, I thought so.
He just needs to come out one day. Just
got that jawline.
Paint.
He's gonna be a fan
favorite. And like black lines to the chin.
100%.
Yeah. Which I think is it his wife or
daughter?
His daughter.
Someone said we wanted to start a podcast, and
it's like she needs to be on the show, guys. She looks like she is like very passionate. And just like
the dog agrees.
Just like the dog, right?
The
So
dog
I mean, what's up, dog? He's in the Wolfpack,
What's
right?
up,
So.
I know Leighton reached out to her, and we should definitely get her on the show sometime because she's been an instant follow for me.
She's sassy, and I like it.
Oh yeah,
get her on before we have
Coach
TJ on. That would be hilarious.
Yes.
The biggest addition this offseason, Coach 2J's daughter.
Right?
No, she's a fun follow, and I think
number one fan now.
I think she's got her dad stepping up too, because like he wasn't really much of a Twitter guy, but he's posting now more often. So it's been fun. They're gonna do a Twitter space sometime in early January, I think, as soon as the dead period starts. So we'll definitely promote that.
She can't take my biggest fan thing.
Well,
no,
we don't have to be tied.
She's the number one newest fan. Maybe that's what.
There you go. There we
go. That's good.
In the last 2 weeks, she has been the biggest, newest.
Her
fan.
Twitter is insane.
It's fun. Like,
it's so much fun to look at.
Like she's like my first go like check on like because it's something every day. She's like, oh, I got red shoes or
got a new red outfit.
Yeah.
I saw something. She's like, I didn't know what to wear red, so I threw everything red in the suitcase.
Right.
When I get there, something like that. But no, like the 2J, I'm really excited about him. I know we're talking about the transition on coaches there, but locking in Tony Gibson, I thought that was huge. It's exciting getting new coaches and figuring out what's going to change, because you get new coaches, you're like, oh, what's going to be different? What can we improve on? It's going to be exciting to see something a little fresh. But locking in a guy like Gibson, we're going to continue to be dominant on defense. It's not as maybe not as sexy, you know what I'm saying, as far as oh, it's not like new and fresh.
I think it's sexy.
No, but it's about going in the right direction.
What I'm saying, but it's this is a huge deal for State.
It's steadying the ship. You steady the course and you keep moving with it, right? Because that helps you continue your momentum, right? Like you've already achieved things, and if you keep a staff together, that builds that cohesion, and then players will stay. You have a better chance of recruiting because they'll know that coach is going to be there. It just brings stability. Yeah,
and I'm going to say I kind of like. I've since I've seen Tony Gibson, but I like his swagger, man. I like his
too.
Yeah.
You know what? Somebody, I think
every halftime he has that in.
It's kind of wad.
Someone asked him and said, "What is he always chewing? What's the brand?" And he said Copenhagen.
Yeah.
So that's his brand. So
yeah.
But
he's a good old boy.
But by the way, I think he the third highest viewed for our account. Was it you, Greg, or somebody else?
No,
you did that toasted thing. It was Tuffy Talk, right?
He knows that
So
was
he was
legit, but
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
At least according to that, it was. So
Whatever stock you buy into that. But yeah, he was our third most
Willie
viewed.
Brown's like
He's
Tony
checking
Gibbs
out
every
Tuffy
day.
Talk
Yeah,
all
we
the
know. But anyways, let's get to some of the downsides. So we talked about transfers here going out of the program, right? So we've got the first one that was the wide receiver, Josiah Previllan. Not a surprise there.
Role player.
He didn't play a ton. He's kind of special teams guy. He came in on very select offensive packages. I kind of got this vibe that a lot of times when he was in, State was running the ball anyways. So, but good luck to him wherever he ends up. Obviously, I mentioned Joshua Pierre-Louis, but he didn't play at the team for the majority of the season.
Right, he got suspended right after around that Texas Tech game.
Right. And then the big one, I would say at this point, after the whole fiasco on social media, was Devin Carter. Right. So I know Mackenzie's all like puppy dog face over there, but it's like, but you get what I'm saying? Like, it was like weird. Did you guys think that was weird how that all went, the 24 hours of him being like,
yeah.
Doran said like, okay, he's gone.
He's going pro. Like, that's what he said. Yeah.
Doran would not have said that unless somebody's told him that.
I literally messaged him not going off, but going off like friendship wise. I'm like, you promised me you were going to give me like a notice, because Manny gave me a notice. So I was like, all right, so I can get my feelings together, not be too emotional. And he was like, Kenzie, what are you talking about? And I was like, you need to go look at Twitter. I was like, because they already have you out of this bowl game. And you could tell like the next day, whenever that news came out, like his mom and him were just like, you could tell that they were
didn't help.
You could tell that they were upset that one, false information was being spread, and two, information was being spread before he even put it out.
But why would it? How is it false? I mean, it is false technically, but it's like Doran is the head coach. He's not going to say something to deal off one guy. He's not going to say that. I just somebody miscommunicated something.
Yeah, I wonder if that came from like a coach or something like that, and not directly a one-on-one conversation. That would tend to be my guess. Obviously, this is.
I've never heard of it. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but that was weird. I just thought it was weird.
That was weird.
But we mentioned that, and then you kind of bounces out. So good luck to Devin wherever he ends up. And I really, I hate that he's not going to be here, but getting a guy like Collins, who I'm not saying he's an improvement at all, but he's a similar body type, same frame, same type of player. Yep. I don't know if it'll be a big dip off. I think we all are big fans of Devin Carter, but I can't really say he had a great season, right? I mean, I think he kind of like the Carolina
consistency
game
will be his biggest negative, right?
When he's on, he's on.
Yes.
Like if he could just be on all the time, he'd be 100% one of the best wide receivers in the country. Yeah. Like, I mean, like that catch
1,000% agree.
Carolina, like he has the ability to be.
But then you'd have drops like against Miami, which were crucial. A lot of drops. But I think somebody could just be focused and.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the year, being everybody comparing him to Emeka, like that kind of like got him out of his zone a little bit, and I think he finally got back into it as the season went on, because you could tell near midseason to the end of it, he was really getting back into his groove, like we saw last year.
I didn't really hear anybody comparing him to Emeka Mezzi. I didn't really hear.
Well, just had to fill those shoes.
Just as
he's
gonna be wide receiver 1, right?
Yeah, people were saying like he was gonna have to make huge plays, like
be the guy. Like, and if you remember, Emeka struggled that first year in that role.
Yeah,
he did. Yeah, you're right.
But
and then he did get hurt too.
Yeah,
like Devin Carter didn't play in 3 or 4 losses, so he was clearly.
Devin was in, we would have won.
Important.
That's how
he's a difference maker. I mean, you have to account for him on the field.
Boy.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the math here, guys. But like I'm looking here, I saw again we talk about subscribing to everybody. I'm looking here on Twitter. Corey Smith put out a tweet when Devin Carter transferred. He said just his career stats at State. He had in 49 games, he has 118 career receptions.
So that's almost 3 a game.
Yeah, 1,906 receiving yards.
That's a lot of yards.
Yeah, so I'm going to do the math there, which that is
like 35 yards.
It's a 38.9 yards. It's not a ton, but it's on average. I don't know where that is normally, and 10 touchdowns. So
some of those touchdowns are huge.
But that's 16 yards a catch. Like that's crazy. Like
That's probably the more important one you just said, Michael. Like the number, like itself, is not like wow, it's 80 yards on average. That would be a big number, but when you break it down by reception, that's a first down and a half, right? So,
but then he'll also remember for like we just mentioned the catches against Clemson, Carolina,
that stiff arm against like he's just
I mean he'll be remembered. I mean there's no doubt about it.
He's a Clayton guy. He's from Clayton, right? So I mean it was I liked having Devin Carter here, and I mean the biggest catch will be against Clemson, right? That'll be forever remembered.
The way he just like contorted everything.
Oh, it was amazing.
Crazy.
Amazing.
So hopefully he succeeds wherever he goes. But we just to kind of move on, guys.
We lost two D-line guys.
Two D-line guys. You want to touch on that, Greg?
Yeah. Joshua Harris. And I just forgot the other one. Now that you put me on the spot.
While you think about it, what's
Durden going to the draft.
Corey Durden's going pro.
I thought there was another one that transferred out. No,
I don't think so.
No. Okay, all right.
Savion Jackson is still there. Davin Van still there. CJ Clark still there.
Well,
so
good.
far.
But Josh Harris, let's talk about the first one you mentioned. Josh Harris
with Ole Miss.
I was shocked until I saw where he committed to, and then I was like,
but John Garrison's
NIL,
right? Yeah.
NIL.
Exactly. Like when I saw, I was like, oh, 100%. It's the money. Like it's got to be.
But it's Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's an NC State guy too. So
I'm not too mad. Yeah,
no.
And plus there was a connection there, right? So they got our offensive line, coach. So he probably helped in that. He has to go up against them every day in practice. So I'm sure he put in a good word. Yeah. So
I'm gonna be curious what the defensive tackle rotation looks like there at Ole Miss right now, because are they like really gaping hole? I don't think any of us know the answer to that question, but it's just like, if you transfer there, must be NIL, or is it you're really close to John Garrison, or
in fairness, he has a child, right? So like,
I think it's gotta be money. I think it's money, right?
Yeah,
being
gotta
closer to
because it's
that ambiguous tweet by Tom Lavolsi, right? Kind of happened right after Josh Harris, and I'm not saying the two are connected, but there was this tweet that Tom put out for those that he's a CEO of Gopher, which you guys should go and use Gopher and download their app and use their services. But he's one of the biggest supporters for the NIL, the Pack of Wolves NIL collective. And I'm going to tell you from when the rumblings are, you can see on social media and some of these other sites, people need to be very happy he's an NC State fan, right? So he's making a big deal about this. He put out a tweet saying basically he kind of ranted a little bit about how
the shadiness of it.
The agents that are kind of coming out of the woodworks to get in players' heads and say, if you just kind of say you're going to transfer, think of all the money you can make and whatever, and they don't care about you, and went on that kind of tangent. Maybe we'll have to get Tom back on the show to talk about Pack of Wolves and that subject. But Greg, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, it's more than $25,000, right? Because the Pack of Wolves came out just a couple of weeks ago and said, hey, all the players for next year will have the ability to make at least $25,000.
A minimum.
Correct.
That's if you're with Pack of Wolves.
You got to play. Yeah. You have to participate and do all the things that are required of you. But the opportunities were going to be there. So I'm guessing these SC schools, man, they're starting at 50 to 75,000.
Where is he?
Who knows? You just don't know.
Right.
They can say numbers and that may not ever happen, right? So
where is Harris from? Like, is he?
He's from North Carolina.
Yeah, Josh Harris specifically. I don't know where he's from. Let me look it up.
I know he's part.
He was County or something.
Yeah, I know he came in with Savion, and that was a big defensive line class.
Yeah, he was a 4-star. He was a 4-star guy. I mean, it was a big deal. And I remember he plays piano. He's from Roxborough, guys, so a little bit north, in the middle of the state. So, but yeah, Josh, I think he's a very likable player. Hope he does well at the SEC. But I think, and then you mentioned Corey Durden, and the actual guy one of the guys who's going pro for state so far. So that's a
he'll get drafted
100%.
So I think,
and then we had a few decommits.
Yeah, decommitment. So let's go to that side of things. So the one that's most pressing on my mind is we had a running back decommit from state. Kyron Jones from Charlotte Christian, and KJ says, but he goes by KJ Jones. I really like this guy's film.
You were excited about him.
I was really excited about him.
Every time Nathan gets excited about a player.
Well, I did. I mean, I get excited about State in general, but like this guy, if you watch his film, he has size that he's not a biggest dude in the world, like in high school, but he's really can move guys. He has good vision. And people think now with his decommitment, he started visiting Georgia, he started visiting Nebraska. And part of it was he's playing on a really good Charlotte Christian team, and he was one of the best players on a really good Charlotte Christian team. So if you're standing out on a team of guys who have a lot of Power 5 offers already, well, then you're probably really good. So, so Georgia and Nebraska are seeming all over him. And I think that the trending thought here is it's probably Georgia. And so, I mean, it's Georgia. I mean, if you want to go play for Georgia,
you can't compete with Georgia.
Right. I mean, Todd Gurley left the state of North Carolina to go play for Georgia. There's another running back who's on the Raiders right now from North Carolina that I can't remember the guy's name, but he committed to Georgia and had a decent career there. He got hurt a little bit, but yeah, Kyron Jones decommitted from state, and it stinks, but it's also not in the world because state just a few weeks ago got a commitment from another four-star running back, Kendrick Raphael, which is another really good player. If you guys go watch Kendrick Raphael's film,
the other Turtles are going to miss him, but he'll be good here.
Yeah, he was so that's the thing. He was committed to Iowa. It came down, I think, pretty much to NC State and Iowa.
Yeah.
And then Iowa's offense has been hot garbage, so he kind of is like.
They've gotten some guys though. I mean, they got McNamara and they got that tight end from Michigan. So, but
yeah,
still.
I know. But
hey, I'm not complaining.
Did they get rid of their coach? Did they get rid of the coach?
No, they're not getting rid of him.
He's never going to leave.
So Kirk Ferentz has been there for I don't know how many years, and his son is the offense coordinator, so he's not firing him.
And Logan Tate here at the comment on honestly, it makes sense because he being KJ Jones seemed interested in Georgia, and we just got the other 4 stars. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, and then one of you guys were mentioning it too about the writing was on the wall with Beck leaving, and then a new
and that's okay. That's okay.
The Georgia offer came after he committed to state, so I mean it's hard to blame.
And then
but
go ahead.
No, you got it. You got it.
No, I was going to change the subject, but if you got something to tie,
I was going to make a comment here, guys. Again, state, if you got players that Georgia is wanting to pick from you,
that's a big deal.
State's been sniffing in those waters and winning in some battles in those waters for the last 3, 4, 5 years now.
Yep.
You're in the right spot, guys. I mean, you're in the 8-9 win ballpark consistently every year now. I remember just 10 years ago, it was just like a good season, a successful season. If we got to 7 wins in a bowl game, and now we're like 8-9 wins is like expected,
and we're mad. Like we're mad that we only have 9.
The recruiting. People don't really follow the recruiting side of things, and I know Greg even jokingly said like I got him hooked onto it, but like it is like competition. If you love competition, it's competition in the off season for what your program is going to be like, and with the transfer portal now, it's like. It's like that.
It makes it year round, right? Like it makes following football year round. Kind of like the NFL with free agency and so on and so forth.
And thank you, Vivid Black. It's Zamir White. That was the guy because he's from North Carolina and went to Georgia. Thank you.
And I know Wolfpack Zone was in here. He does some live sessions on Instagram and he's on Twitter. He's a big follower of ours, and I was on his live earlier. And he was saying the same thing you were making, that just to kind of be in the breath of these guys with the Alabamas and the Georgias. You're not going to, if you can get 1 out of every, 8 or 9, that's a win. But then again, we were talking about earlier now with the portal, you can snag guys from Clemson, and there's a kid that we're looking at that
Clemson
was
in Oregon.
Oregon. Perennial
State would have. Michael, you were going to say something. I'll let you say your thought.
Well, I was going to say it also kind of along the same lines of, you're competing with Georgia for recruits. Ole Miss, an SEC team, is taking our backup defensive tackle. So it's like
right. I mean, you guys, like we would have probably not been in the position to get a guy like Dakari Collins, and he came out of high school 2 years ago, right? So 2 years ago, we were, I can't remember what the record was.
We're coming off that was the 4 and
that was right after
a bad season. But my point is, 2 years ago, like State's not getting Dakari Collins offered by Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson,
and Clemson, Michigan. They had just came off the national championship. They lost to LSU, but they were still in the national championship.
Right. So, like, you now get 2 years later, a guy who's barely played, and you kind of see. My thought with that is, why did he barely play? Was it because he wasn't as good as some of these other receivers, which personally I didn't think were super great from what I've seen eyeball tests so far with Clemson? So that's my only thought with Dakari.
Why?
Right? Like, why did he start there if he's really good? He's got the rankings. Was he just not as good as the other guys that we kind of all
Or
thought
maybe
were kinda,
he saw that DJ was trash and didn't want to.
maybe that,
Didn't
you
want
know,
I mean, we don't know.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna go with
hopefully-
that, Greg.
Yeah, I mean, but
And he's not. I mean, DJ's not trash. I mean, he's a
It's a
decent
fair
quarterback.
discussion. It's
Yeah.
a fair
He's
discussion. to bring
recycling.
up. Yeah, I just think you could have a lot of really good success there with a guy like but anyways, yeah, I think when you're in those kind of wise recruiting, you get a guy like KJ Jones, that's nice, but you got a guy like Raphael who's going to be coming in, who's going to be a nice addition. And guys, like specifically at the running back position, am I really worried about that when you've got Michael Allen, Demi Sumo?
Michael Allen is going to be a freaking beast.
Yeah, Jordan Houston's going to be done after this year.
And
Even
we
you
still
guys
have the other kid from Indiana.
from Indiana, I don't know. You've got Delbert Mims.
Delbert Mims, he's from Indiana.
Yeah, I still think Delbert Mims is one of the coolest names for a football
Yeah.
player. But you got Raphael. That's not a big deal.
You already had his backup basically. It's like, you lose him. Okay, we got to go get another running back. Well, you already have one.
I mean, you're just swapping one 4-star for another 4-star at this point.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe maybe this guy fits a nice system better, right? We don't know, or the blocking scheme, because that's all relative. But speaking of blocking, we did lose another commit.
That's what I'm gonna get at. Good transition there.
Yep, Charlie Simmons, legacy kid. Which was
I thought it was Simons. Is it Simons? I don't know.
I don't know. It's one of those.
His dad was a player for state, and I don't. Was he?
Yeah, that one
He's
shot.
a punter.
Yeah, punter.
I don't think does that count as a legacy.
Yeah, he played for state, right?
I mean,
that's kind of like Shipley thing. That shocked me too. But
Mark Primani's son played for state, but he played a different position. Is he a legacy? I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's say Trent Gill has a son someday. He's like, nah, he's not a legacy. So
punters aren't players. But no, he just decommitted. Rumor is it might be headed to Stanford. Which I mean, again, there might not be great at football, but that's a good education.
To get good. It's like saying it's almost like me saying a guy wants to go to Vanderbilt, or it's like okay, it's not going to be the greatest football in the world, but like you get to play college football in the SEC, and you're going to get a great education. Or you could even argue, right now. I think in the ACC, I think you can even argue a team like Georgia Tech, right? Great engineering school. Yeah, they really kind of suck right now. So,
they beat UNC.
Or you can play it at school like NC State, who's great at engineering and is good at football and all that. So you can.
What if you're a degree?
But I mean, I digress here. So, but that's those are two guys with decommitments, and again, both offensive side of the ball. You've lost your offensive line coach, so Simons is gone. You've lost your offensive coordinator. So
early signing period Wednesday. So you'll start seeing some names get signed.
Which, by the way, has anybody watched that new Wednesday show on Netflix? Have you guys heard that?
No.
I've heard it's good.
Yeah. Me and my wife watch it. It's pretty good. Anyways, I'm going to transition. You said Wednesday, so I had to say it, but it was
it was way out of the park.
I am the MC of this episode, okay? This is my show. And now we're going to talk about
Is this on?
I'm kidding. But let's transition, guys, to we talk about football. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Actually, let's bring it this last point here. Logan's got big name in the transfer portal because of a commit we have right now, and I emphasize right now.
Tomorrow.
Hold on. Wait. I'm going to finish this, then you can say something. Hold on.
Okay.
We had so State has a commit from safety. It's protected safety to Marcus Cooley from North Carolina. 3-star guy, but State really likes him. Very versatile defensive player. His brother Travion Cooley was a starting running back for Louisville and looked really good. With Tamarcus here, people thought Travion, there were some rumblings. Apparently last year he might transfer to State. Then coming this offseason, it's like he decommits from Louisville.
Transfer portals, yeah.
Well, whatever. Tomato, but you're right. Technically, you're right, transfer portal. And then people are like, oh, maybe he's going to come out of State. Nope. He's decided to go to play football at Georgia Tech. So, I mean, again, it's kind of like whatever. But Christian Jones of Tamarcus is a dog. Yeah, I like his film. He's really good. Yeah. But go ahead, Kins.
I take one for the team when I hit people's DMs to be like, look, like there's some word going around that you're leaving. Is this true? And he acted like he didn't know anything about it. He could easily be lying to me, but
Mm,
he was like,
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
let's leave
Hold
it to
up.
them to announce and figure that out. But go
yeah,
ahead.
but there was a commit that just went to Maryland, and he kind of was all up on his Twitter page about the commitment. So you can read the tea
We'll see.
leaves, or you cannot read the tea leaves, right?
I'm
So
keeping my faith.
some of that's just smoke and mirrors.
Right.
They could genuinely be happy for a friend of theirs. That's the fun thing about this whole thing, right? Like everyone thinks they have an inside scoop or whatever. And that's not meant at you, Kens.
No, that's
100%. So Kenzie, just stop talking.
So shut up.
No. What I'm saying is everyone thinks they have something, right? Like, like he was on this guy's Instagram page, or this
Liking
guy
tweets,
was on.
yeah.
It's
hey,
like,
look at Noah Rogers, guys, right? Like,
right.
He things out left and right, and then now he's like,
Noah Rogers just has fun screwing with people's heads.
That's what
I'm
like.
with that.
If I was a recruit, I'd be just messing with people,
that's
liking
just a hobby
tweets.
for
And,
it's fun, right?
He's like, I'm ready to get NC State fans riled up again. Let me just see what I can do.
But like, I'm going to go back to what we were making earlier with Noah Rogers. Heck, I even go with Dalen Smothers, a running back who committed to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You're down. Those are two guys I can think of. Heck, and I can think of a third now, Keith Sampson, KJ Sampson, right? So Noah Rogers, it came down top two, NC State versus Ohio State. Technically, and then you got Dalen Smothers, came down to NC State versus Oklahoma. You got Keith Sampson Jr. from New Bern, came down to NC State versus Florida State. Right. Now, all three of those guys, all 4-star guys, did end up picking all other schools, which really sucks because State really wanted those guys.
At least one of them, right?
Yeah. Signing day's not over, but it's not here yet, but probably not going to come to State. So, but my point is, if you're in those waters, like you're in the top, when was the last time State was in the top 2 for a play for Ohio State?
Exactly.
When was the last time State was in the top 2 for a player who was between NC State and Oklahoma? I mean,
like we're getting up there.
That's not typical. That's not typical. That's uncharted waters.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then Christian Jones, like Noah Rogers wore Clemson gloves his last 2 games senior. I mean, it's just
exactly like
it's just to get people to talk and have fun. I mean, like you look at it their way. If I would probably do the same thing just to mess with minds and watch people freak out. Like these people are just so crazy.
I come out in a UNC shirt. That'd blow everybody's.
Yeah, what you need to do, it'd be like one thing, like you have like a blue earbud or like a like I don't know, like a gold earbud for Florida State.
Like wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Is that a signal? Is that something? So
what the heck's happening?
He's wearing blue shoes. Could that mean something?
Shoelaces.
Like, he blinked twice. What does that mean? Greg, are you saying anything?
You're muted.
Uh-oh. Technical difficulties.
Am I back?
Yeah, you go.
Yeah.
I heard you now.
Okay, sorry. I don't know. But no, that was kind of what Lacey Steele did for her commitment, right? She kind of faked everybody out with that. And
she goes, all my teammates think I'm going to NC State. Yeah. Well, they were right.
Yeah. So
I mean, that's how like some of the announcements are going too. Like you see some like the over the top announcements. Like I feel like it's just they really just want to screw people's heads.
Yeah.
Like it's just fun for them.
So talking about transfers, obviously we already talked about Devin Leary, but I see Court Cox has got the comment here. Where do you guys think Leary's going?
I heard he had
latest rumors Kentucky.
I said he had a really good visit at Kentucky from what I heard. So
to me, guys, I don't know if it's just me, but I know it's SEC, but does that feel like a lateral move?
Mm-hmm.
So is it
other than it's SEC?
It's SEC. I get it. So NIL is different. You're in Lexington, right? It's so my understanding. Here's what I look at Kentucky specifically. There's land grant schools like NC State's a land grant school, but if you look at a lot of other land grant schools that are focused on engineering and those kind of things, they're in the middle of nowhere for the most part, right?
Lexington is
is not one of those kind of things, right?
Unless you like bourbon.
Right. So, I mean, but my point is though, you're in a city vibe. Raleigh's a city. I don't know if Georgia Tech, I think they are a land grant school.
Okay.
But they're basically
right,
Atlanta,
right in the middle
so
of Atlanta.
you could be Virginia Tech and Blacksburg, which I lived there for a little bit.
UVA kind of reminds me of that with Charlottesville.
Texas A&M, middle of nowhere. Florida, University of Florida, Gainesville, Florida. That's in the middle of nowhere. So, it's but Kentucky, like I kind of, that's just personally me. I kind of thought it was a lateral move. If he goes there, heck, I saw he visited Auburn, or he was thinking about visiting Auburn. So, again, I kind of feel like they're lateral moves right now. Maybe it's because I'm a State fan who kind of doesn't see the way it probably should be. But if that's great for him, it'll maybe be an offensive system. Now, remember, State played Kentucky like 2 years ago in the bowl game. So And their coach is a really good
Stoops.
coach.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Mark
Mark.
Stoops.
Yeah, Mark.
Mark.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really good.
He
coach.
just signed a big
So,
contract too.
Yeah, really good coach. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, and I didn't remember Greg it being a small. It's small, like
I mean, compared to
is
Raleigh,
small.
yeah. I mean,
yeah, compared to Raleigh, it's
I mean, it's okay. I mean,
we're
Greg's
biased.
like,
All right.
I don't like. I'm just gonna go and be honest.
right.
I don't like Lexington, but
Raleigh's
the,
the
I don't
best.
have anything
my point
against it.
is,
I just
though,
didn't think it
my
was
point
that
is-
big.
yeah, if he goes there, that's the word, right? So the word court is Kentucky's somebody on social media
Yeah,
put out a
on
projection that Leary would commit to Kentucky. But
I mean, like Will said, like that's huge for him. Like SEC,
Yeah,
SEC, like,
definitely.
But
For
yeah,
his-
so let's
Good luck.
Let's move,
Moving on.
let's move on, guys. We're like 8 minutes left in
We
this
got
show,
MJ.
guys. We've talked about like 50 minutes of football.
All right, men's
Let's talk
basketball
about
won.
basketball for the next 2
Natty
minutes. I'm
chance.
kidding. Guys, so State has had some a nice win
They
against
went 2-0.
Vanderbilt.
They went 2-0 last week.
Dropped. Down to we played Pittsburgh after.
Yeah,
live
we had
stream, I
two
think.
games. We had Coppin State and we had
Miami.
no, Miami
Last
was
week.
well, no,
Pitts-
that was
we
a
had
Saturday,
Pittsburgh, we had
Coppin State and
Pittsburgh,
Vanderbilt.
Coppin State, and Vanderbilt.
right?
And,
But last week it was Coppin and Vanderbilt after our
So,
last live stream.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that.
So I think the Vanderbilt win's a nice win, but Vanderbilt was still like basically 500
one-
team. So
not
it's
even.
like, right? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're like
Take the wins.
150. They're like 156 in the
Take the
Ken
wins.
Palm. Like
What do you
Yeah,
guys
I
think
mean,
about the game? What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, I mean the
good
win.
adjustments.
This
Hard.
team doesn't give up. Like a lot of teams in the past, like if they're down after a certain period of time, like it's over. Like you're done. But this one, I mean,
DJ
you can
Burns
see the
is
heart.
Yeah,
DJ Burns is earning his NIL with Bojangles if he hasn't gotten one yet. So
yeah. He had a great second
nice
half.
game. Yeah,
against-
great second half.
Vanderbilt.
Well, my thing is, here's what concerns me, and I've just got to just think about some look at stuff there on social media. With State, though, I like that Casey Morsell has become like one of the better scorers on the team.
and he's one of the best
Most
shooters in the
improved. He's most
ACC.
improved
Very
player on our team.
underrated. Like people are not. They're sleeping on Casey Morsell. Like
Yeah, and that to
I-
me is a system
Good.
fit, right? He came from UVA, where that was not his system, and now he's exploded at State, I would say.
Yeah.
But and you're probably going to get something from Terquavian Smith, but Vanderbilt kind of locked him up second half.
They did.
And I didn't really see much out of Jack Clark. He had like a clutch 3 or 2 here and there. DJ was a storyline,
18
but
points.
it
Yeah.
kind of Jarkel. I can't remember. Does anybody remember Jarkel's stat line? I'm gonna look it up
Not
here.
as
but-
usual.
I was kind
Not
of
his
Yeah.
usual stat line.
yeah. I was casually watching the game, so I didn't.
Yeah, he made some.
I'm looking it up here.
Shots,
looking it up
but
here.
it wasn't like
So
it does.
the wins this
12
week,
points.
they're not going to like move the needle for us when it comes to the postseason, but they're games you had to win then. So
Yep.
which we did.
Exactly. They can move the needle the wrong way, right?
But here's
exactly.
what concerns me is and I'll make sure I can say this. Jarkel had 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. So he had no steals, 1 block. He had a nice game. So kind of, in my opinion, kind of quietly. I think he made a lot of his money on the free throw line the other night. But my point that I'm worried about that is if we can't expect that from DJ every night, and you get nothing else from your other centers, right? You don't have
Limited
Dusan
bench
right
scoring.
now. So if you look at Ernest Ross and Ibi Duwana, they were a combined 2 points, and I don't know how many attempts that was. Field goal attempts, they shot 4 times, which is not a lot of shooting, but 4 attempts, they get 1 bucket. And I know 1 point Kevin Keats had them both out there at the same time. They just I feel like every time I see either one of them on the court, they look lost. They look like
100%.
kind of like, or there's no, in other words, lost. They don't have like a game plan of what they're doing. Like they do, and I kind of feel that way about the offense sometimes in general. But the
No, but it's really struggles when they're both on the court. Like there's no
Oh
flow,
my gosh,
there's
they're
no
both-
movement.
When they're
Yeah.
both on the court at the same time, it like affects the entire team.
yeah, and I wanted to see more of LJ. I thought he's played really good.
LJ deserves to have more playing time.
He
is
looks really
a
good. I don't remember what his stats
defensive
were.
star.
LJ had LJ had
His defense
no
is
points.
big.
He played a total of 5 minutes. So like my thing is, how can you have like a nice big game and then you only get 5 minutes? I'm not the coach, but
I think some of that's just because it was against Coppin State level of
That
play.
too. But
maybe could be. But my point is, State
But
did
I
get
agree.
a win, and so I saw a tweet someone put out there. Even though State maybe didn't look so great in this out of conference schedule, but they are 10-1 out of conference.
And the one
which
loss
is
against
Yeah.
Kansas.
one loss against Northern Kansas. So that's, I mean, you can only play who
Overall-
you have, but you did schedule the teams. I don't know what the strength of schedule is going to look like, but the
You're
Furman win might actually look kind of nice. We didn't talk about that win, but
Butler should probably count as a quad 1 or quad 2 when it's all
Yeah.
said and done. Furman will be a quad 2 or quad 3, probably a quad 3. But yeah,
I still have to figure out the whole quad
No,
thing.
yeah.
but-
I mean,
Haven't
like,
either.
yeah. Well,
Realistically-
it doesn't work out to the end of the year, which is really weird. Like it could be a quad
Yeah.
2 when you win the game, but it could end up
But then it
being
ends
not
up
a
being-
quad,
yeah.
nothing.
yeah.
yeah. But
No,
go ahead, Michael. You got it.
10-1, you said 10-1 in non-conference. That's about as good as you could have reasonably expected. I mean, with the only loss against Kansas.
Well,
Yeah.
and you saw what we scheduled because Keats didn't know what we had coming into the year, right? So if he knew
Yeah,
that he
that's
had the level of talent that he had, he might have gotten another 1 or 2 harder
Yep.
games in there.
Yeah.
And
And-
you can argue that we should have beaten Kansas. I mean, We
Yeah.
should
I mean,
have
it was a
been
good
able to-
game.
I don't think you even have to argue. You
Almost
could just
did,
say it.
though.
right,
Yeah, but
like,
they for the remainder, what's coming up this week, guys, we got a big ACC matchup again. I don't know, I mean, it just blows my mind we lost to Pittsburgh, but they were better than what I think they probably gave them credit for. But State's got a matchup at home.
You have to win
against
this
Louisvle.
one. You have to win this one.
I hear,
wanna
I
see-
hear
And,
the
and it's
guys-
like, and you think like, oh, it's Louisville, like it'd be a good game. Louisville will be kind of tough. No, guys, Louisville
Louisville's
is
bad.
it's so bad this year, guys.
I hear the guys
It's a
say all the time
stinking-
that they want fans, they want to be taken seriously. I'm like, y'all didn't win.
You get
Look,
Like,
look,
you
listen
win
right
at
now.
home.
I'm going to
Who
go
won
on the
that-
record.
Go ahead.
If you lose this game, the fan base is done with you for the rest
So
of the
let's
season.
put this
It'll be
into
tough.
perspective. Let's put this into perspective. So going into December 10th, Louisville played Florida State. Okay, Louisville was
Someone had to win that game.
0 and 1, 2, 3, 4,
I think they were
5,
0 and 10.
6, 7, 8. They were 0 and 8. Okay. 0 and 8. Florida State to that point, who is also you think, oh, Florida State, they've been really good this year. They are so bad. They are
I think they
garbage.
were 1-8 or 1-9 at that point.
Yes. Okay. So they had going into that game. I'm going to get to a point here. They had won one game out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Yeah, 1-9.
10. So they were 1 and 10, I think. 1 and 9, 1 win and 9 losses. My point is, those are terrible records,
Yeah.
and Louisville lost. Okay. Louisville lost that game to a terrible.
They barely
Forced
beat
it.
FAMU the other night.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that.
I mean, Louisville has lost to. Let's go over who they've lost to. They've lost to. Ready for this, guys?
There's teams. Hold on, you're going to tell a team you won't even know their mascot or the city they play in.
Yeah,
Easy.
Maryland. Like Maryland. Who the heck is that? No, I'm kidding.
Shots fired.
Bellarmine.
Right?
Who the heck's
What
Bellarmine?
city and what is their mascot?
It looks like the knight from the Holy Grail. Monty Python Holy Grail is the mascot.
It's a classic.
Wright State. They lost to Appalachian State, but then they've lost to some more legitimate teams. They lost to Arkansas, Texas Tech, Cincinnati, Maryland, Miami. And when you kind of look at it, that stretch there is kind of tough. But when you see how they're getting beat, guys, it is so bad. They lost to Arkansas 80-54. They lost to Texas Tech 70-38. They scored 38 points
They almost didn't score
in the whole
24.
game.
Yeah, like we beat that. We have 24.
Now, what was the
So we're
state
not-
Virginia Tech score that a few years ago? What was that, guys? You remember?
48-24.
I don't know.
I mean, that rolled
It
off
was
in
the
her
only
tongue.
basketball game
that
my
was
dad
so
has ever
bad.
been to.
Okay.
He was never allowed back in.
Okay, they lost Cincinnati 81-62. That's the fighting
Oh,
UNCG head coach. I can't remember the guy's name, but whoever the
So
coach
bad.
was in Cincinnati, whatever his name was. Maryland, they lost 79-54. Miami, they lost 80-53. Guys, and they lost that Florida State game 75-53.
Yeah.
The only
Man,
two games
I
they've
didn't-
won, they won the last two. They've won the last two.
Yeah.
They've beaten Western Kentucky, who the coach played at NC State, and they lost to FAMU. So FAMU. So
that's true.
Louisville's
And that's true.
got-
Christian's right too. They lost in that exhibition
I
game.
forgot about that. They did.
In other
lose
words,
to Louisville.
we can't lose to Louisville.
My point is, guys,
You
like
can't.
You
You
We
can't.
lose to
can't.
Louisville. Kevin
can't.
should get fired right
Keats
on the
thinks
spot.
it's bad right now.
You can't.
You lose this game, you lose a Florida State game. It is not
telling
going
you.
to be pretty.
I'm telling you, you can be down at the end of the first half and still win this game. And I think the fan base will still want your head. Like you have to dominate this game.
You
These
have to
Louisville
like
players-
win. Like it can't be
But-
like you win last minute.
It
Like,
has to be convincing, right? It
yeah,
can't even be like, oh, we
exactly.
won by 5, close game, but we got the win. It's like that
No.
is not something to brag about.
No.
dude. So
No.
I'm really
If you only win by 5 or you lose, don't even do a
gonna
post
be
game.
tough.
Don't do a post game press conference.
I do think, well, now with the injury to Deuce that changes things,
It
but
does,
a little bit. But I do think the team is really good. Like, I think the loss to Pitt is the only thing that's really holding
Mhm.
people back from really embracing it, because
I don't know.
it was your
blew-
first
you
ACC
blew
team, and you're
16
like, well, now we're
Yeah.
0-1.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
but you
right?
also blew a 16-point second half lead.
That's
yeah,
one.
but that's
how you lost.
against the best team in the ACC right now. Well, outside of Virginia,
Yeah.
What? Pittsburgh's the best team in the ACC right
No,
now?
he's
No,
talking Miami. He's
Miami.
talking Miami.
Miami.
Oh, I was about to say.
Make it
what are you
fair.
talking about?
Macon
I
was
was
ready to
like,
fight.
What's in
Macon
this?
was ready
Yeah.
to come down to Florida and kick your tail.
But yeah, no,
What?
Louisville is the best team in the ACC right now. Florida State is the best team in it.
no. I mean, you just look at some of the advanced metrics. Like, we're right up there, top 40, top 50 team,
Yeah.
5 or 6 in the ACC.
Offensively is really like our offense is really
Offense-
good.
If we can play the last 6 minutes in the second half,
defense,
like
man.
we play the entire game,
Yeah.
we have a chance to go to the dance. Like period. Like
Yeah.
we have a good team, but they
Oh,
always shoot
Mackenzie,
themselves in the
you are
foot.
so naive.
It's what
Mackenzie.
We're
the
winning a
defense-
natty.
the defense is what kills us for
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
reason.
Mackenzie.
It's the
It
defense.
is.
Feeling a
I-
lot like 83.
Mackenzie.
All right, hey, let's take like the last 5 minutes or so. And talk
Yeah,
women's basketball.
Can I bring up a point here? So hold
yeah,
on.
well-
The thing about the Louisville game, the game after the state game, they had to play Kentucky. So are they going to look ahead? Are the players already
They're gonna look
checked out?
ahead. They got 2 wins.
But you know what I'm saying? But like, my
No, I
look
got
ahead,
you.
like, I just want to get to that game. Are they already checked out? You get what I'm saying? Like, you
No, I think they want this
won 2
state game because
games.
they have a chance, right?
They have a better
In their
chance
in
to
their
beat
in their
us.
heads, they
Yeah.
think they have a.
And you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy?
I don't know.
Louisville is 2-9 overall record. State is 10-3 overall record, and yet somehow we're
We're underdogs?
they were 14th position and they're 15th in the ACC right
Yeah.
now.
Oh
because of
yeah, conference.
Because we're
Conference,
0
right?
2.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I will move on. Let's talk women's basketball, and we're going to wrap up here. Let's do it in the next 2 minutes, guys. I know it's not giving them enough time, but women's basketball,
Stout.
business as usual, right? I mean, they're
Mhm.
just
Have
Kicking
them
butt,
play
taking
for our
names.
men's team.
they're
Like,
down, they're injured, and they're still winning games. That Clemson
Yep.
game, I know Coach Moore was like, "I'm just glad we got out here with a W," and it was at home,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Greg. You probably watched it. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I watched all of it. It was because my Bucks game was horrible. I was like, you know what, I'm going to go watch a winner. But
That's how I
we-
feel about the Panthers.
yeah. Look, we started off
Panthers are
slow.
winning the division.
They might. We started off real slow against Clemson. They outscored us 28-22 in the first quarter. It wasn't looking good. A lot of turnovers. And then they just flipped a switch from there on out. They dominated the game. They ended up going up
See it
8.
now.
Yeah, they ended up going up 8 at the half. So there was a 14-point turnaround in that second quarter where they just dominated. Clemson did get close late in the third. Right at the end of the third quarter, we went on we had 2 possessions where we got a 3, we got a steal for a layup. There's 5, and then we got the next possession, threw a 3 up, and then we scored 6 or 8 in a row, and that was pretty much the end of it. But Madison Hayes, friend of the program, career high last night. I think she ended up with
20
either
points.
Yeah.
I was going to say 18 or 20.
And then Sanaya,
and that's-
Sanaya made a 3 and then went and freaking blocked a shot right after it.
Yeah, and she had this one move. I mean, obviously it's the women's game. It will not mimic the men's game, but she had a couple of moves. It was just so smoothie silk.
Oh, yeah.
She was really good.
You can see
she's
why
really
she
coming
ranked
on
the way
lately.
she was, right? So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think she's definitely getting more comfortable in the system playing.
She had a few turnovers, but I mean
She did. I mean, she was running the point pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, with Diamond out.
Yeah.
Had to.
Someone that I just don't understand is not getting enough playing time is Jessica. I think Parsons, Pearsons,
Timmons, Jessica Timmons.
There's
maybe
Messiah James and Jessica Timmons, I think.
Yeah. So Jessica Timmons, I think she should get some more playing time. She's looked good out there running it. Yeah, Timmons. Thank you. I don't know.
She plays really good defense.
But here's my thought. I want to kind of put a bow on this. I know we're going to kind of close up the show here, but like, so your point, Greg, on that first quarter being like a back and forth a little bit between and I see Logan here, commenting here on the second quarter and fourth quarter. Clemson scored a combined 12 points.
Yeah, we locked them down.
That's one half of basketball.
They shot 60% in the first quarter. Clemson
I mean, that shows
they were hitting everything.
Coaching, like State had 8 turnovers in the first quarter,
and
right after
also
that, Westmore was like, you could tell he put them in it, like was like, wake up, because
I'll add this too. In those same quarters, State scored a combined 38 points. So you had a 38 to 12 point difference there, and the other two quarters were like a wash. So, State. Go ahead.
No, real quick. I was going to say, if we're going to wrap this up, we did jump from 8 to 7 in the polls this week in women's basketball. It was interesting last week. The ACC was 5, 6, 7, 8 in the AP poll with I believe it was Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, Carolina, then us. And I think Tech got beat by Notre Dame yesterday. That was a good game. So they dropped a little bit and we moved up, but. First ACC game was yesterday, and then we got we're off through the holiday, and then we pick up Duke next Thursday, but right before the Duke's Mayo Bowl. So
8:00 next Thursday. But I think the big game basketball wise right now is the men's game against Louisville this week. And what day is that? Do you guys remember the day?
It's Thursday
night.
What time?
I think it's at
7.
Is it 7?
Just looking up here to be certain. It is 7:00, and it's in Raleigh. So if you guys be there,
too, I think,
there. For those who are out of town, ACC Network. It is on the ACC Network. Yep. So anything on any of the other sports, guys? Baseball park is getting renovated. You see pictures there. That's about it.
Season tickets just became available to Wolfpack clubs. So there is limited seating still available if anyone's looking for it. Yeah, they did add a $100 per seat surcharge this year, so people are not happy about that to help pay for those renovations. But it's coming along. Our friend Justin said that they're projecting February 10th for it to be done, and the first game is February 17th, so they are cutting it close.
That's cutting it close.
Dang.
Yeah. So the other thing I also say was I think too. For those who are interested, I know this is me with what I noticed. My little tidbit here: tennis has been recruiting, and they've gotten some nice tennis commitments from overseas. I think
tennis is weird because like some of these players have like career earnings, and I'm like, so I'm not sure.
A lot of them are international players.
Yeah. So I guess that's a little different than, but
who knows? But that's the only thing I really have noticed. I can't really think of any of the other sports right now.
Everything's pretty quiet.
Anything on wrestling you guys got?
So someone was talking, asked me if the duels, there's a big duel down right now in New Orleans. In fact, the men's team, or not the men's team, the wrestling team was at the Saints game yesterday.
The women's team.
The women's team. Hey, that's coming. Women's wrestling is coming.
I wish you would have been there when I was there.
Yeah, don't sleep on women's wrestling. I think you'll see that here in the next few years. But I don't know how they're doing today. Obviously, we'll cover that probably next week because there won't be much to talk about on Monday. If we're even doing a show Monday, I don't know. With it being the holiday, we'll have to figure that out.
We're not doing the show. I'm going to make that call right now. I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. We will have to figure that out with Leighton, but probably not happening because we're going to all be in Christmas mode. So having said that, guys, I think it's been a really eventful week for the most part, particularly when it comes to adding players, adding staff, players leaving different teams. And then basketball is, it's basketball season now, guys. So minus the football bowl game coming up. So for those who, if we don't see you next Monday night, then we will see you in Charlotte at the bowl game. And I think I'm going to see if we can have maybe a live stream watch party thing coming up, maybe for a game. Maybe I can get some together.
Games.
Yeah, a couple basketball games. But it's
wrestling.
Really the most important thing, guys. Let's put state aside. It's Christmas time, so go have fun with your family, enjoy it. For those who are on vacation, you're really lucky.
Be safe out there.
I was on vacation this week right now, but gotta work. But I'm going to work through. Basically, I think Friday's my first day. I'll be on vacation, so I'll be enjoying that. And I hope you guys get to rest, spend time with your family.
Remember what the season's about too, man.
Yeah, put on a few pounds while you're eating a lot of food. But
All right.
Yeah.
Greg said that's all the convincing I need.
You
Okay.
didn't even
We're
need to
gonna
tell me
put on
that.
pounds.
Yeah,
the
but
Greg
I
told
hope
me.
you guys have like a Merry Christmas, like Greg said. Remember what Christmas is truly about. And hope you have a great Christmas, guys. We are thankful to have you guys here, part of Tuffy Talk and the family we have here at Wolfpack Nation. And be sure, guys, to like and subscribe to our channels. Be sure to continue to share Tuffy Talk with people so we can get them involved in the conversation. We really like having you guys involved here in the conversations we have. And I think that is it, guys. So, all right, guys, thank you for joining the live show. We are signing off here, but as always, go Pack.
Go Pack and Merry Christmas, everybody.
See you guys later. Bye.